Welcome to How to Be a Humane Leader Without Losing Your Job. We're here to chat about humane leadership in a way that's real and relatable, tackling work-life challenges and offering practical advice to navigate tough decisions. Whether you're leading a team or navigating your own career, we've got you covered. I'm Chris Hollerking, a Fortune 100 IT leader, and with me is Roberto Torres, a startup engineering leader. We'll dive into real-world stuff, share experiences, and offer guidance on leading with compassion while keeping your career on track. Today, we'll discuss how to continue to offer humane leadership while making sure your new role does not compromise your principles. Now, I'm not in a new role, but Roberto, you're kind of in a new role, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Sorry. Good morning,
And
by the way.
and and a new role can be very stressful. It can be distracting. It can be overwhelming. It can be all kinds of things. So tell me about it. How you doing, and what are you doing to make sure you don't become a boss? We don't want you to be a boss.
Oh, nor do I. Um, well, first of all, I had to deliver results, like in the name of the team and by myself. So yes, it is kind of a challenge, but I remain being a humiliator because I understand the benefits of being so. Of being a leader to my team for my squad and to understand that I have to deliver. So it's kind of a balance and it's a continuous trade-offs assessing that I have to constantly do. But that is why, first of all, if I require something, either that I had to create maybe a document or something like that. Either I do it all by myself or I delegate something so to, take the stress out. But I think that one of the most important things is to fully understand that I am a humane leader, that it is the same as the level of delivering results and make adjustments to become not become both, but to be both at the same time.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned just a little bit of being be self-aware. And you've talked about this in other episodes too, where you really have to kind of be judging yourself, be self-aware of, like, am I starting to feel a bit overwhelmed where I might compromise my principles somewhat, right? And take a step back and be self-aware. What were my actions today that I did? Am I satisfied with them? Do I feel I did humane leadership principles with some of the people I interacted with today? And if you feel yourself slipping a little bit because of the stress, right, that self-reflecting and self-awareness can help you realize, oh, maybe I was a little short with somebody. I didn't talk to them long enough to coach them through the challenge that they were having because I was feeling stressed about my own challenges, right? So certainly being self-aware and reflecting each day in that new job, because there's going to be so many new things happening, in your first week, your first month, your first quarter, that you need to make sure you take that time to reflect, introspectively and reflect on your behaviors.
Yeah, and actually, I think one of the things that allows me to remain a humane leader, not is only self-aware, but it is also using cornerstones that belong to a humane leader. It's one of them is communication, in which we have spoken that it is an important pillar, but also applying others, such as empowerment. You know, you let your team be empowered instead of saying, "Okay, I have finished my work. What else?" No, no, no. You let them be empowered towards that they have to seek their own work to be productive. And if they are happy and they feel great, it will remain this balance. So I think it's really important for us to identify not only the strengths and weaknesses of our team members, but also to apply these strong resources um, to the team and be I wouldn't say polite, but be motivated through your words, through your actions. Because in a new team or a new squad like the one that I have, they don't know how do you work. They don't know if you in a stressful ways, how are you going to be? In peaceful times, you might say, how are you going to be? So you have to convey the message that you are a humiliated because I have told them so. And I think it's really important to do that.
Yeah, I completely agree. When you're empowering them, their previous leadership may not have been particularly empowering. So, as the humane leader, you might have some expectations as you're empowering them that they don't haven't experienced before. Depending on how old they are and how many different bosses they've had versus humane leaders. They might have had half bosses, half humane leaders. They've had a good mix of good and bad leadership. So they might be very seasoned and adjust to, hey, you're empowering me. I get it. I know what to do because I've had some of this experience before. Versus if they've only worked for bosses who are very strict list managers, they might not be exactly sure how to be empowered. And you as that humane leader are taking that time with communication to empower them. Might take them a little bit of time to adjust, and that's where our humanity steps in, right? We're the humane leader who realizes, wow, even though this employee is, well, I'm making up a number, 30 years old, may have only had bosses before. So the creativity of humane leadership might be a little bit strange to them, right? So that you have to spend a little more time coaching and communicating those expectations to them.
Yeah, indeed. And one thing is, this happens to everybody, not only your team members, to myself, to for everybody. When we have worked with a previous manager, either at that company or another one, and we have tasted, you could say, the good stuff and the bad stuff, and maybe the bad stuff is more heavier than the good one. You might be wary of respect of your new manager. Oh, is this person going to be yada 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 this way or not? Maybe they have their expectations high or low. So that's why when I talked with a team in one-on-ones, I told them about the happiness formula. I think we have spoken of this in one episode before, but the happiness formula, it is happiness, it is equal to reality minus expectations. So if the expectations are higher than the reality, happiness will be negative. But if you have a higher expectation, but the reality it is more higher, happiness will be positive. And I think that is one of the things that makes a team running. The machinery, it is so smooth that it is running and working efficiently. That is one of the things that I understand from a new job, from a new squad, but most important that I have to deliver results because that happiness formula I apply to the business as well to my squad. So it is an ongoing process, an ongoing work with both of them, in which we will be delivering results by making this squad, excuse me, happy and being productive.
Yeah, absolutely. And communicating those results in measurable terms so that your team, your new team, again, not totally used to you yet. You haven't been there very long. The leadership is expecting great things of you as the humane leader. Um, but how well have the results, expectations of those results been communicated to the team in the past? And as a humane leader, you're transparent. You share what the expectations are from leadership above you, and you do your very best to make them measurable and objective. And as you're communicating those kinds of things, even though it may be stressful in the new job, right? Because the people, the leadership above you are expecting you to really just come in and shake the place up and make things happen. If you can be transparent to your team so that they realize, look, your leadership is looking for you to do so many amazing things and do them so quickly, that if you share with them, clearly what those are, what the measures of success are, they'll understand and be aware of why you might be not the perfect humane leader at the moment, right? Because you're just new into the job. These are the things that they're expecting of me. I'm feeling a little stressed about it. You can share that with your team and show your humanity. And because those objectives are going to be measurable, they know what they need to deliver to right away. You don't wait. You don't hold back on, wow, these demands from the leadership above are overwhelming. Okay, well, maybe you don't let the overwhelming part go out to your team with the expectations of results, but you communicate what the results are expected to be in a clear communication with measures that then they can feel comfortable that, yeah, we're working towards those things with you, new leader. And thank you for sharing exactly the things that I'll be measured on for my performance, right? So it's not vague. I'm not concerned like maybe Roberto is going to be measuring me on things I'm not aware of. And what if I don't do them? Because then they'll be stressed, right?
Oh, yeah.
They'll and so, again, I think one of your major cornerstones of humane leadership you always talk about is communicating, and because you're multicultural, multilingual, et cetera, you do a very good job of those things. And setting those expectations with the team is critical, because you're new, and they're always going to consider you the new guy until some other leader comes in who's not been there as long as you. So you may have that new leader title for quite a while. And so staying focused on trying to be as humane as possible. And sometimes you're going to fail, right? The beginning parts of a new job sometimes are really stressful. Don't expect immediately the level of performance you might have had in a job that you were at 5 years previously, right? Because you learned everybody, you knew everybody there at that job, and you had tuned your humane leadership. You're starting out somewhere new. So don't be too hard on yourself when you slip and you do a little bit of boss behaviors. But recognize you did some boss things because you were feeling, that you really needed to deliver those results, and immediately try and correct them, right? Don't let it sit for 2 weeks. Maybe you were a little short in talking with somebody. Maybe you didn't articulate or communicate the results as well as you should have because you didn't want to take the time because you wanted to get on to some other things. Hey, admit your mistake. Go to that team member and say, hey, Roberto, I'm really sorry. I was a little short with you explaining what I expected. What you gave me is not quite what I need. My fault. I should have spent a little more time with you so we'd get it right the first time. Here's what I need. Just go rework this as quickly as you can. I really need it by Tuesday. Now you're being a humane leader because you can admit your faults. A boss is never wrong. A boss never makes a mistake, and it's all your fault that you didn't deliver the results that I wanted, even though I didn't communicate them to you, right? That's a boss. So,
Yeah.
don't fall into that trap.
No, I won't. No, first of all, thank you for your words. And second, yes, you're spot on. We had to deliver hard data to the business equals results. And the team is not only expecting that we boost their hard skills and their soft skills, but it has to be a crystal clear communication with the team. Also, what it is expected to us and to the team by the business itself. So, surprises are bad when leading a team.
Yep.
If you have a constant communication with the team and say, okay, team, we're going to be measured by certain factors, and I will explain to you when I understand when and from where to I will get them. They will understand. They might not. They might say, "Oh my God, there is a lot of data." No, I might say, "Okay, yes, it's a lot of data, but focus on your work because we're not measuring, excuse me, only one of you. We're measuring the whole squad." So in this ongoing process in which we're going to be walking towards a destiny, and we have to deliver something in particular, either a feature or a project or something, we're going to be in constant communication of where are we right now, what are our expectations, and what are the path that we have to walk towards that. So yeah, indeed, being a humiliator is something important, but as you mentioned, I might be a little bossy if results aren't coming. But to avoid the surprise of being a boss because, hey, you didn't do something. No, it is an ongoing process. That's why the one-on-ones are so important because you will discuss and you will present a dashboard. Okay, Chris, this is your dashboard. I have seen that you're increasing in these different metrics, but what about this one? Is everything good? And you will tell me. I will convey the message, and you will talk with me. Just yes, indeed, communication, either written or and when we talk and when we listen, it's so important.
Yes. And realizes the new leader, in the new role with, I'm assuming, all new people that you don't have long relationships with. The um, corrective coaching, you really need to take more time and get that right. Because out of all the humane principles that you can do with a team, it probably is the most challenging to coach for correction. Coaching them to either change a mistake or change a behavior, do something better. That coaching is probably one of the hardest things to do with people. And if in the early stages of being that humane leader there, if you screw that up or you do it poorly, there's very long lasting effects. Very long, very hard to correct. And so early on, if I'm going to pick a principle and things that I'm going to maybe devote more time to than I would normally, it is going to be that coaching for correction. Because if you slip into boss behaviors at all in coaching for correction, it just takes so long to rebuild the relationship. So out of anything that might be happening in your early part with the new company and the new team, be super sensitive to coaching for correction, because celebrating success, you screw that up, not too big of a problem. You know what? If you're just communicating poorly, but there's no disaster, you can come back and recycle that, and the team will forgive you. The individual will forgive you. But if you coach poorly and you coach like a boss, which is, Roberto, you did that wrong. How come what's up? You're supposed to be the best performer, and that was terrible. You're going to take a really long time to recover from that kind of boss behavior.
Dave, one thing that you mentioned, uh, a pillar that you have mentioned, it is active listening. So in order for you to coach properly, efficiently, you must apply active listening. On the first one was that I had with my SWAT, they began telling me something particular that they faced in previous managers that they didn't like, but they had to comply with that because that was their manager's style of leadership. But you have to understand, and when you apply this active listening and you use that factors into your humane leadership style, and you understand. Because, for instance, I don't feel that I had to take control of everything. No, I don't mind if you do something, because that's why the empowerment it is for. If you maybe say, I will assign this ticket to someone else, or I will answer a question to someone else, it's because you have the empowerment. And I'm looking forward to that, because that is why maybe some other manager might have said, hey, why did you assign this and why did you answer that? No, it's not me. I'm trying to take the best out of my squad, as well as the best of myself, and together, in this cohesive matter of a squad, and make us all of productive, but most important, happy. So
Yes,
apply active listening.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I really love your happiness equation as
Yeah.
a scientist and engineer. I love that, with the put a formula to it. I may have to put that up on my wall. I really like that.
No, a pleasure. Great. Um, okay. I think that one of the most important things about being in a new job is to uh, listen. Listen to everything. And you mentioned in the last episode is reading the room, reading how people behave, what is telling people, with their gestures, with their hands, with the face. Everything has to be excuse me, has to be read, because with that you could understand if your initiatives are going well, and if not, or do you require to convey more message, or maybe to be on a one-on-one and to discuss this, not going in a one direction, but being in two directions of this communication.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I think we have reached our time, and we might be talking about this in the future. So
Absolutely. Well, we might need a quarterly update on how the new role is going.
I like the corporate way that you have, and we will be talking that way. Okay.
Very good.